Hi, everyone. Okay, I think you all got the hang of that one. I don't think you're going to get it all rotoscoped in the next hour, though. So, could um, could we move on to another exercise then, please? It'd be great if you could finish that one at some point. It'd be quite handy to sort of see it done right the way through. Um, have you Can you all go back to your nuke now, please? You all got it. Um, I'm gonna do this. I know you've done some sort of you've all done like keying, chroma keying, haven't you? Presumably in your last project. I'm not sure how detailed you sort of got to do your keying in, but I've got a slightly more complex chroma key shot here. It's still pretty simple, but it needs it requires more than one key to sort of get it right. This shot is quite typical of what you might get in a lot of things as well, like in a pop promo or something. It's well lit, and there's a good green screen backdrop, which is all kind of hasn't got shadows or wrinkles or marker points or anything on it at all. Okay, but we've got this we've got hair here, which is showing green through it in lots of different shades because it's slightly defocused. So to get a really good key on the edges of a shot like this, we might need to do more than one key and a bit of work around the edges. Okay, so okay, cool. Yeah, did you catch the last that you got most of that last thing, didn't you? Or yeah. I'll put you in a minute. Hold on, let me do it now. Actually. All right, so could everyone get that shot up and in their viewer, please? So we get this similar problem when we're shooting, say, if somebody's wearing like transparent, like or flowy clothing that might let the green screen through. If somebody's wearing something reflective, you might get green screen reflecting, like the green screen studio might be reflecting in them. That's another problem in a way that needs sorting out. Fluffy blonde hair is even worse because it lets it lets green through the hair, but it also reflects the green colour in the hair too. So you've got this sort of double problem where you've got to sort of you've got the transparency and the semi-transparency and the reflections in it. So if you would like, so if you were to pull a chroma key off this shot, I'm going to show you what I mean. If you get a Keylight up, you remember how it works. You just you click on the screen color until the dropper appears. Sorry, it's tiny, but you can sort of see it in that corner. And then hold Control and click on the background. It pulls a key straight away, and you switch it to alpha channel. You can see your default key. So there's a few problems. We've got all of her clothing on the shoulders down is sort of semi-transparent. Her eyes are semi-transparent, so that's not brilliant. Okay. And we've got loads of the background is still coming through on there. Okay. So we might just think, right, just we'll do is pull this up and tweak a couple of the other settings, and we could just go with that if you wanted a real rough comp. Okay, but the problem with pulling this screen gain up really high is we get like a solid alpha channel, but what we've done is we've really degraded the edge here. It looks terrible compared to the original. It's lost loads of the detail in her hair that's in the green there. Okay, and it still hasn't got rid of the problem of the semi-transparent eyes and stuff. It's actually made it worse. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull a sort of a hard edge key and then a more subtle one, and we'll combine them together to key all this out and still keep the sort of integrity of the edges on her hair there and things. Okay. So I'm going to dial the screen gain back to get the best amount of detail here. I can't take it all the way because the grey area meets her hair, but if I just this literally like 1.1, it's quite subtle, and that keeps a lot of the detail. All these little hairs around the edge are still showing up, whereas before they were just lost, like eroded into and killed off. Okay. So that's a nice key for these edges, but it's not working for other parts, like in her eyes and here, where her clothes are. Okay. So over here, I'm going to make another Keylight. Make it the same way. This one, we're not going to worry about the edges. We're going to make a key that blocks out all the areas that we want to keep that are becoming transparent. Okay, so we're not worried about the screen gain. We're going to pull it right up high so that the bulk of it is in the alpha channel. And then we've got some more controls which should sort out the other bits. Is it this one? Okay. So there's this clip white here which will bring the clipping plane down from a sort of grey tone. It's just basically like pulling the exposure on it. This is making the edges even worse. So you wouldn't do this. You wouldn't do this to use as a normal key, but we're gonna use this as a second key that goes inside the first one. So we still got our good edge key here on this side, and now we've got this very extreme key which is capturing. It's still not perfect actually. It's still a little bit. I'm going to take it even further. We can be quite ruthless with this one because we're only going to use it for the interior. Now further down that list we got a dilate screen which will this will eat in to our edges, so we can if we pull that into negative, it actually makes the whole mask a tiny bit smaller. You can't take it too far. It sort of starts doing the reverse and making holes reappear. We pull it in a bit, and then you jump between the two. You can sort of see If you want to flick between shots, you can have a second viewer. Press 2 for a second viewer, and then you can just press 1 2 1 2 1 2 to look between shots. Yeah. So now we got this very solid key, and this softer one with good edges. And we're basically going to put this key inside the other key. Because it's slightly smaller, it should sit inside it without interfering with the extra information that we've got that we want to keep, like the edges of the hair. Okay. And there's actually an input in this Keylight, in our good Keylight, which we can plug the other Keylight into. Is it? I think it's the InMatte. And you have to switch that on, an InMatte component to alpha. Okay. Looking at what, sorry? You need to go and ask someone? Oh, okay. Yeah, of course, yeah. You're trying to book it, because you're trying to reschedule it for today, weren't you? Oh. Okay. Yeah, go for it, yeah. I'm recording this, so you can catch up later, yeah, okay. Okay, so our extreme key has been plugged into the InMatte of the nicer key, and it's filled in the eyes and the t-shirt and all that stuff. So, but it does have to be turned on here in the InMatte component and set to alpha. Okay. So now you've got this combination which has got it's got the sort of the good edge, the good hair edge from this key, and is using this other one on the inside. And this one could be blurred slightly too with a blur node. That would help. You can sort of see one inside the other a little bit, but we could blur this one slightly. That would help as well. If I turn that blur on and off, you can sort of see it's subtle, but it helps to soften it on the inside. I might turn it up. Not too much, or that inside one actually becomes larger than the outside one again, and you'll get a green. There'll be a green halo. You can actually see what happens if you make that blur too big. It's bringing the grey default background through the edges, so that's not good. But a little bit of that is okay. Okay, so going back to that Keylight, you can then switch it from final result to a composite. I'm going to I think this is a 4K image, so I'm just going to scale it down. So reformat will change the resolution of anything on screen. So if you look at our footage, I think it says it's 4K, which is good for extra information to key with. So always chroma key at the highest resolution, and if you're scaling it down, do that later. Okay, so the reformat will take it to HD. It's now been reduced in size. I've got a background here but the background is HD. Because the actual Keylight happens in 4K, I need to reformat that to 4K. And then from the Keylight background input, you can plug that into the background there. We should be able to see that chroma key on the background. I'm just going to flip it. I'm going to flip the background in its So you see we've got a pretty good key around her hair, around the edges, and we can still see strands. Just going to unplug that background a minute. So we still got a problem. We still got a little bit of the Chroma Key Studio showing through where the corners, because the key wasn't pulled really tightly, we still see a little bit of the corners showing through. We can get rid of those with a Roto, just a round shape that will just make an ellipse and put it in the right place. So the Keylight comes with another input called OutMatte, which takes things off. Ooh. I run out of memory. Interesting. Okay, well, I'm having a memory issue there, but just plugging a shape into the OutMatte will remove those corners and give us a clean chroma key. Alright, cool. Yeah, I'll email everyone a reminder and links to where all the tutorials are. I'm not around next week. Manos said you're all doing some special thing next week. I don't know what it is. Reading week. Okay. No, I don't think I'm on an hourly pay, so there's not much point in me. I'm not part of the pensions and pay scheme thing here. But yeah, I don't know how disruptive that'll be for all of you lot, but I mean I kind of agree why they're doing it, you know. So. Yeah. Well, I mean, everyone's got plenty of exercises and things that they've been shown to finish off. I mean, if people are lacking for things to do, they can't use it as an excuse, really. You know? Yeah. All right. Good luck with everything. See you in 2 weeks. Huh? Oh, what? What is that? No,